das?
Sie kümmern sich mehr oder weniger mehr um die Art, wie ich rappe und weniger um die Vibe in mein Texten, mehr um Charts und das Flexen und leider weniger darum, sich reinen Wein in ihr Glas einzuschenken, mehr um Klicks, Likes und Fashion, als für die Kids einzulenken, mehr um Dick-Riding-Sessions, als das Schicksal zu retten, mehr um Beats, als auf Rappen, mehr um Tweets, als auf Action, doch jetzt Speichel gegenseitig dann auf Instagram zu lecken. Lieber ein ernst gemeintes Fick dich als ein Fake-Lächeln. Man sagt, du hast keinen Bock und nicht, du musst doch mitchecken. Und statt den Fake-Flex mit übersetzten Drake-Texten, geh mal lieber kurz die Welt retten. Ich such den Sex nicht, das Cash nicht, die Cloud nicht, den Fame. Komm und gib mir lieber etwas, was noch recht ist. Ich such dein Lachen, such dein Hassen, irgendetwas, das wir hatten. Und das letzte bisschen Hoffnung, bevor es weg ist. Ich such den Sex nicht, das Cash nicht, die Cloud nicht, den Fame. Komm und gib mir lieber etwas, was noch recht ist. Ich such dein Lachen, such dein Hassen, irgendetwas, das wir hatten. Doch die Hoffnung, die ich habe, stirbt als letztes. Sie kaufen Klicks, Likes, Follower, alle Zahlen, sie gefaked, ich glaub euch nichts mehr. Deutsche Rapper tauschen Ehre für Fame, alle auf Drip, Flex, oh mein Gott, käme Gott, aber geh, du bist nix wie ein Hologramm, ein Witz, den keiner versteht, für dich ist Rap nur noch Highlight von dein Leben, meine Party, alles klar, ich komm vorbei und schon okay, wenn du nur vor der Kamera stehst, aber die Menschen, die du erzählst, kannst du kleinen Kindern andrehen. Als ich schon war, so mit 12, dachte ich auch mal, ich wär 50. Doch Rap gab's schon mit 36 in den 90ern auf Drillbeats. Was für Nike-Deal, wenn ich will, läufst du in Socken rum, kopier mich, denn es gibt schon. Ich such den Sex nicht, das Cash nicht, die Cloud nicht, den Fame, komm und gib mir lieber etwas, was noch recht ist. Ich such dein Lachen, such dein Hassen, irgendetwas, das wir hatten und das letzte bisschen Hoffnung, bevor es weg ist. Ich such den Sex nicht, das Cash nicht, die Cloud nicht, den Fame, komm und gib mir lieber etwas, was noch recht ist. Ich such dein Lachen, such dein Hassen, irgendetwas, das wir hatten, doch die Hoffnung, die ich habe, stirbt als letztes. Adrenalin. Wir sind noch hier. Immer noch hier. Hey. So viele gingen in Paden, was für ein Leben auf der Straße. Kein Happy End wie Hollywood, wenn das Blut in der Hand real ist. Der Pott ist voll und alle pokern hoch, denn ein gutes Leben durch Paares. Doch Glück ist wie ein Luftballon und Realität eine Nadel. Der eine fährt ein Benzer, andere Bus und Bahn und eine Karte. Aber Oma packt die Rente immer in die Nachttischschublade. Und der Einbrecher dann nie Erspartes in Drecksautomaten. Merkt ihr, alles hat einen Haken und es kommt nichts vom Schlafen. Nur Backpfeifen gibt's gratis, den Rest muss man bezahlen. Also pass ich auf mein Umfeld, auf, macht meine Jungs zu Soldaten. Keine Umwege, bleib gerade, bist du Fuchs oder Hase. Manchmal bleiben einem nur zwei Optionen, zu flüchten oder zu jagen. Scheiß auf des Lebens, manche kommen, manche gehen. Aber niemals hast du alles gesehen. Doch wir sind noch hier, wir sind wie kämpfen und auf Feindsam, sie kommen, samt sie kennen, lieben, hassen, lachen, weinen, werden, flüstern, lügen, schreien, vorne Freund, hinten Feind. Doch wir sind immer noch hier. Und nur wer bleiben will, der bleibt. Aber schließen wir die Augen, sind wir sowieso allein. Meine Weste ist zu schwächer, fängt die Kugel von hinein. Doch ich bin noch hier, immer noch hier. Nur hoch, hoch. Wir sitzen alle in demselben, doch wollen Löcher in das Boot. Warum Zeit verschwende mit Hass, wenn man stirbt? Sowieso, ich bin cool mit dem, was kommt und schlag High Five mit dem Toten. Blut ist dicker als Wasser, aber Freunde suchst du dir auf. Doch man setzt nur auf sich selber, Dicker, bau dich lieber auf. Denn wenn die guten Leute aussterben, breiten sich die Attrappen aus. Wenn du dann mit in diesem Loch versinkst, wer holt dich dann raus? Glaub mir, ich kenne ihre Macken, aber was soll man machen? Jeder sich selbst der Loyalste, weil viel zu viele raten. Je höher die Beträge, umso dreckiger das Lachen. Noch ein Engel bei einem Zehner, aber Teufel bei einem Batzen. Kreislauf des Lebens, manche kommen, manche kehren, aber niemals hast du alles gesehen. Doch wir sind noch hier, wir sind, wir kämpfen und auffallen, samt sie kommen, samt sie kennen, lieben, hassen, lachen, weinen, reden, flüstern, lügen, schreien, vorne Freund, hinten Feind. Doch wir sind immer noch hier. Und nur wer bleiben will, der bleibt. Aber schließen wir die Augen, sind wir sowieso allein. Meine Weste ist durchwäscher, fängt die Kugel von hinein. Doch ich bin noch hier, immer noch hier. Sekunden, gestern Schule abgebrochen. Heute nicht mal Zeit zum Kochen, weil 7 Tage Arbeit die Woche. Früher durchdrehen bis zum Kotzen, am nächsten Morgen wieder boxen. Heute ein Schluck von dem Teufel zurück und der Scheiß hängt in den Knochen. Damals Handys noch brocken. Heute Instagram und zocken, schnell online was shoppen. Mein Scheiß Display wieder zerbrochen. Aus Baggy Pants wurden Diesel Jeans und die waren in den Socken. Jetzt sieht man Männer ihre fetten Beine in Strumpfhosen stopfen. Alter, was ist bloß passiert? Und verdammt, wo wollen sie hin? Wir gehen nicht gegen und nicht mit diesen Strom, in dem sie schwimmen. Nenn es wie du willst, spurtreu oder blind. Doch ich sag niemals etwas ändern an dem Team, das schon gewinnt. Kreislauf des Lebens, manche kommen, manche kehren. Aber niemals hast du alles gesehen. Doch wir sind noch hier, wir sind, wir kämpfen und auffallen, samt sie kommen, samt sie kennen, lieben, hassen, lachen, weinen, reden, flüstern, lügen, schreien, vorne Freund, hinten Feind. Doch wir sind immer noch hier. Und nur wer bleiben will, der bleibt. Aber schließen wir die Augen, sind wir sowieso allein. Meine Weste ist durchwäscher, fängt die Kugel von hinein. Doch ich bin noch hier, immer noch hier. Aber die ganzen Attrappen kommen und gehen. Wir sind noch hier. Ich nehme die Waffe, die Maske und lager das Magazin in deinem Haus. Flur, Schemas, Militär. Wir gehen geradeaus, tun den Blick monoton. Konkurrenz abziehen, kriminell Monopol. Wenn es um Mucke geht, Mutterpuppen kurze Ton. Alles nur krumm. Keine Diskussion, gibt's nix oder so. Ich spiel deine Mutter, du hast 2 X-Chromosomen. Pack mal dein Handy raus, Geld nehm ich sowieso. Ist doch nicht ein Kilo Koks, Auto sehen. Einbrechen, Schulterblick, losfahren. Mütze ab, Brille auf und plus mich auffallen. Olle sehen, Brust raus, Fenster auf, Radio laut und hinter Arschschau. So fällst du gar nicht schau. Olle sitzt hinten drin, diese Arsch, sexy Blick. Guck mal, Beifahrersitz, dicker Arsch wird gefickt. Einmal hin, einmal her und nur einmal benutzt. 3 Pfunde Boomer und den Hals wird scheißegal, wer hier oder check auf von die Wand. Und mein Name ist Chrom, überall auf Asphalt. Überfallen der Leute, die Chrom ins Gesicht. Soll der Teufel mich schwören, die Krieg um mich weg. Scheißegal, wer hier oder check auf von die Wand. Und mein Name ist Chrom, überall auf Asphalt. Überfallen der Leute, die Chrom ins Gesicht. Soll der Teufel mich schwören, die Krieg um mich weg. Silbergraues Mauerwerk und Trieben schwarzer Outlines, am Flugmalern und die ganze Nacht drauf sein. Hier geht's nicht um Homo-Rappen, sondern nur um selber Ketten. Mit Chrom an Häuser decken oder mit Nachtbetten verstecken. Es geht nicht um Schuftelbetten, sondern nur um Pottenracken. Kriminelle Grasgeschäfte und Wetten auf unsere Kämpfe. Und wer ist falsch, begeht sich wieder in rollende Chromwägen. Bündel von Honis, das Koks oder Pitbull-Wetten. Ich häng ab mit Jungs aus meiner Gegend, scheiß auf dein Leben und noch Rap für Kids in Spielotheken. A8, du bitte Scheibe mit 180 durch die Stadt. Und der Gang durchgepult, ich hatte nicht wegen Polen nach Blaulicht. Scheiß drauf, Butterfly, rein raus, Profi aus deiner Tasche, dann da will reinhauen. Lederjacke mit den Kragen hoch, an meine reine Dobermann, Handelrand, 100 Kilo, 50er hoch. Scheiß aus deiner Tasche, dann hatte nicht wegen Leben und Homo-Rappen. Silbergroß, Mauerwerk und Trieben schwarzer Outlines am Flugmalern und die ganze Nacht drauf sein. Hier geht's nicht um Homo-Rappen, sondern nur um selber Ketten. Mit Chrom an Häuser decken oder mit Nachtbetten verstecken. Es geht nicht um Schuftelbetten, sondern nur um Pottenracken. Kriminelle Grasgeschäfte und Wetten auf unsere Kämpfe. Und wer ist falsch, begeht sich wieder in rollende Chromwägen. Bündel von Honis, das Koks oder Pitbull-Wetten. Ich häng ab mit Jungs aus meiner Gegend, scheiß auf dein Leben und noch Rap für Kids in Spielotheken. A8, du bitte Scheibe mit 180 durch die Stadt. Und der Gang durchgepult, ich hatte nicht wegen Polen nach Blaulicht. Scheiß drauf, Butterfly, rein raus, Profi aus deiner Tasche, dann da will reinhauen. Lederjacke mit den Kragen hoch, an meine reine Dobermann, Handelrand, 100 Kilo, 50er hoch. Scheißegal, wer hier oder check auf an die Wand, und mein Name ist Chrom, überall auf Asphalt, überfallen der Not, der Chrom ins Gesicht, und der Teufel die Show, die Krieg um mich weg. Scheißegal, wer hier oder check auf an die Wand, und mein Name ist Chrom, überall auf Asphalt, überfallen der Not, der Chrom ins Gesicht, und der Teufel die Show, die Krieg um mich weg. Scheißegal, wer hier oder check auf an die Wand, und mein Name ist Chrom, überall auf Asphalt, überfallen, und mein Name ist der Teufel die Show, die Krieg um mich weg. Scheißegal, wer hier oder check auf an die Wand, und mein Name ist Chrom, überall auf Asphalt, überfallen der Not, der Chrom ins Gesicht, und der Teufel die Show, die Krieg um mich weg. Scheißegal, wer hier oder check auf an die Wand, und mein Name ist Chrom, überall auf Asphalt, überfallen der Not, der Chrom ins Gesicht, und der Teufel die Show, die Krieg um mich weg.
What's up, what's up, what's up? How's it going? There you go, new live stream. Cool. So first of all, sound check. Can you guys hear me? How's the sound? Is it okay? Can you hear me well? Is everything coming through clearly? Yeah. Can you hear me well? Maybe I should use some headphones or something. All right. Yes, the camera is a bit blurry. No, it's a little dark in this room. That's why. The camera's blurry. Okay, so I'm making sure that I can be heard 100% clearly. Yeah, so how's it going? New live stream from your favorite source, right? I got a couple of things that I want to talk about. Very, very interesting stuff that you're going to be able to use. But before that, of course, I want to cover your questions. So, what is going on with you? What didn't you get to answer? What didn't you get to ask last time? Put those questions out there. I'm going to do my best to help you. Good to see you live. Hope that, as always, you're going to drop some gems. Absolutely, my friend. That's my hallmark. I always do that. Drop gems. And I help you guys improve your surroundings and everything connected to that, right? So, Don't forget that on Saturday we got the afterlife path working. Okay, listen, guys, if you want to learn how to navigate the afterlife, you got to be on this path working. If not, you're going to miss out. It's never going to come back. You will, uh, you will be missing out. You will literally be missing out on one of the most important teachings that you will ever receive. And I bet you're never going to be able to learn that anywhere again. Once I stop teaching that, it's literally virtually impossible for you guys to learn that anywhere else. Okay, so I don't know what is preventing you from being there. I don't know what's preventing you from taking part in it, but you are hurting yourself by not being on there. And I mean that. I literally mean that. You'll be shown ways and paths that will completely change and transform your life. Right. So, Frank, are you still doing 1 hour a day of Tai Chi and yoga? Not quite. No. I'm doing other things. Focus on other things right now. I'm still doing yoga, a lot of yoga, but not Tai Chi. Working on other things. Okay. So lots of new projects coming. Like I said, the life coaching is going to go live very soon. So the production. There's so many changes, so many things that you're going to be able to benefit from. But right now, the urgent thing is that you get on the afterlife path working. Okay. I got plenty of people on there already. So a lot of you guys took advantage of it. Okay. There are around, I think, 30 people that are going to be part of this path working. Now, if you don't want to miss out on one of the biggest opportunities in your life, you should be there. All the time that you invested into learning about magic and the occult and all that stuff, all the time that you spent learning about spirituality is going to be wasted if you're not going to come on to this path working. Naya says, I come here because of the knowledge and because he's so dang sexy. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for saying that. Um, well, if it helps you, you know, um, it's good if you see me as sexy. If it helps, I hope it's not distracting. But what you have to do is you have to really focus on the afterlife path working, what I'm talking about right now, because this is going to transform you. And all the time that you studied magic, try to learn it, it's going to be wasted. You're going to lose all of that, the resources that you put into it if you're not on this path working. So do whatever you can to be on this path working. Message me personally. And if you can't pay for it right now, we can make payments or whatever, right? But I want you all to take advantage of that. I want you all to take advantage of that because it's going to be life changing and it's going to make everything that you did worth it. If not, you literally wasted maybe potentially years of study and you're missing out on the one of the greatest opportunities that have ever been presented here in terms of magic and learning about that stuff. The only goal of occultism, the only real goal of any spiritual path, it prepares you, unless it prepares you for the afterlife and what's coming after death, it's useless. It's a wasted activities. You know. So, um, yeah, make sure that you come on there. How? Message me. Find me on Facebook. Find me in the Grail of the Serpent Inner Circle, and send me a message. All right. Yep. Okay. So, what are you guys struggling with? What are your questions? What are your questions? And yesterday, I wanted to talk about political developments, right? And potential dangers, food shortages. If you're in Europe, this winter is going to suck for you. This winter is going to suck because Russia is going to cut the gas and natural gas and oil supply. Yeah. because of the stupid sanctions they put out there. So you're going to be in trouble. Europe is going to be in trouble. Even food shortages are going to be there. I promise you, man. It's going to be the first time since the 1930s where food is going to be scarce, and it's going to be difficult to get your hands on it. All right. So, um, yeah, a lot of things happening. You got to prepare yourself. You got to prepare yourself, guys. Got to prepare yourself. Most people don't even know what times we're moving in. But it are, difficult, bad times ahead. Frank, how do you balance your relationship and your goals? How do you make sure you won't compromise your purpose for love? I want to make sure I won't compromise my purpose for love. I don't get it. It's See, my purpose is the number one thing. My life is built around my purpose. My life is built following my purpose. So anyone who is in alignment with that is in my life. Anyone who isn't is naturally removed. The same with a partner or partners or whatever. You see what I mean? So if a woman is supposed to be in my life, she's going to help me accomplish that purpose. You see what I mean? If she's taking me away from it, listen, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Okay, I don't give a fuck. I am not afraid of growing old alone and then all this other shit that people might be afraid of, or I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, like literally this relationship stuff. It's nice, of course. It's beautiful. Love is a beautiful thing, right? But my purpose in life goes way beyond that. It goes way beyond this physical existence. So if there's a woman who wants to share that, and a woman that helps me in accomplishing that, and I mean, of course, it makes the relationship extremely deep if you're like doing multidimensional stuff and all these things, right? So yeah, but if a woman is not capable of helping with that, I don't care. I really don't care. This is like what's the word? What most people call love is not love; it's codependency. You see what I mean? If I truly love someone, I should care about them being happy, regardless of they're being with me or not. You see what I mean? So um, I am an adventurer. I don't know if you understand, but my life is a constant adventure. It's never boring. There are constantly things going on in my life. A lot of things that I can't talk about on YouTube. I'm a you know I'm a gatekeeper between the dimensions. Okay, I am what you could call a guardian of the human species on the other side in many different ways. You see what I mean? You know, often I'm in between massive danger on the collective unconscious and the creatures that want to cause that. Now I'm not the only one. There are others as well. All right, but you have to understand that the species is under attack, and some of us are called to protect the species. You see what I mean? I'm one of those guys. I'm one of the protectors in um, a spiritual form. Now you can think about that whatever you want, but you have to understand that my life is kind of crazy. You see what I mean? It's what's the word? There's a lot of stuff going on all the time, um, spiritually. Lots of spiritual influences, lots of magic, lots of you know things that are not for everyday people. So I'm like a mix of, if I had to describe myself, I think um, I'm like a mix between Bruce Wayne and Doctor Strange. That's the type of guy I am. That's what I do. I think that's a good combination. And I think you can imagine that this type of life is not really compatible with a calm, serene normal relationship where everything is just normal. I mean, most people have a boring ass life, right? It's like 9 to 5. They do what they do. They go to work and then come home and all that shit, right? Like a boring ass existence to me. I'm sure it's great for other people. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it, right? But for me, my life is a little bit more. I put it. Imagine the life of Bruce Wayne and Doctor Strange. Okay, so instead of Bruce Wayne turning into Batman, I turn into Doctor Strange. That's kind of like the combination. Okay, so imagine that life, and you'll know what I do, who I am. You see what I mean? So there's a lot of explaining to do for like in relationships, and for the most part, um, I mean, going back, let's say my last relationship, for instance. Okay, she wanted to learn a lot of things. She wanted to learn a lot of things, but when you're as powerful of a magician as I am, you know the future before it happens. You see what I mean? Nothing surprised me about what she did or what she was saying or what she was doing. But at the same time, she wanted to learn certain things, and I listen to my spirits when they tell me don't. So I listened to the spirits, and her heart wasn't clear. Her heart wasn't clean. She didn't even know it herself. You see what I mean? But the spirits can look deeper. So certain things I cannot share because that would make me vulnerable, which when a person turns, they can use against you. You see what I mean? No, I've had enough life experience to understand that I can't do that. The other option is I teach certain things, and then the person betrays me, and then I have to destroy the person. Now I didn't want to do that, so I didn't teach her. So she could betray me without me being hurt by it, if that makes sense. You see what I mean? So it's not easy. It's complicated. And look, who knows? Maybe I'm gonna go grow old by myself. Maybe I'm gonna be like an old playboy or something like that. It's okay. It's okay. I don't care really because my life is not about that. My life is about a mission. You know. I don't know if you read these entries in the Facebook group, Grail of the Serpent in the Circle, about uh, from the diary of Aurelius Silpax. You see what I mean? So that type of stuff goes on in my life. So I get called to Holland to do exorcisms. I do all of these things. So there's a bigger story going on that is just often makes a relationship very complicated. It takes the right woman. It takes the right woman to understand this and all that shit. Man. Most women are not built for that life. So there's no compromise. My purpose comes first. That's it. You know. Oh, basically, you like Doctor Strange in the second movie. You like Doctor Strange in the second movie. I like Doctor Strange in the second movie. Have I seen the second movie? Yeah, might be. I don't know. What has the Galactic Federation planned in the universe for the next 1 to 2 years? Who told you that Galactic Federation is real, if I may ask? I don't see how you do it, Frank. You have the greatest endurance in the world. Really? I, I do? Greatest endurance in the world? Thank you. Appreciate it. You mean how I do live stream after live stream after live stream? Because between yesterday and then today, I was actually sleeping. I don't know if you thought that I was up 24/7 because I wasn't. Hold on, Frank. At what age did you experience astral projection? How did you get yourself so solid to influence the world around you? How did you get so solid? How old? I was probably 14. I started my training around 13, so it must have been around 14. You get good at influencing the world around you by using your imagination, using that power. It's like a muscle. You build up that power of using the imagination and that muscle with practice. Consistent practice makes it possible for you to use that muscle more and more and more. Bierhoff messaged me. Bierhoff, my island friend, with the name of a professional German football player. What's up? What's up, Bierhoff? How can I help you? Yes. How can I help you? What's up? Are you messaging me before because of the path working, or why are you sending me a message? Hmm. Oh, no, no. Sorry. Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay. Gonna send him a message back. What's this? Like I want to be Scarlet Witch without her being mean, without her being a mean bee. Also rich, but I also want to be home by 5 o'clock to cook for my husband and do wife stuff. Maybe a mom. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. All right. That way, you never let them get too close enough to cause any sort of discomfort for you. Smart keep certain things in their proper compartmentalization. Yeah, you got to be strategic, man. This is life. One of the things that you learn as you grow up, as you become an adult, is that there are there are actually there's nobody that you can trust 100%. You know, I'm lucky that I have spirits that I can trust 100%. These spirits are with me. They have my back 100%. You see what I mean? But lovers, family, all that stuff is not 100% reliable. You know, so especially lovers, man. Especially lovers, man. It's yeah, forget about that in terms of loyalty. So you got to make yourself invincible in a sense, not by not feeling anything, but you got to make yourself um, bigger than that game. You see, something that I talked about yesterday. Frank, do you have those days where everything is just too much and you want to just have a normal day? Everything's just want to have a normal day. Um, yeah, sure, of course, of course. But I get bored very fast. I'm a person that gets bored extremely fast, so I always have to do things. I have to learn things. I have to create things. So I couldn't just live a normal life that most people. I mean, it's literally impossible for me to live a normal life. You know, just doing the shit that most people do. You know, so, lovers have to be soldiers serving mostly every need possible. Hmm, I understand that. I don't understand that. Lovers have to be soldiers serving mostly every need possible. Oh, that's what you mean. Okay. Well, romance gets you only so far. It's enough for a couple months, but after that, work starts. And I mean, the current state of relationships is really fucked up. I mean, first of all, pornography. Okay, kids these days they grow up, they're like 12 years old. They know more about sex than I knew when I was 20 or something like that. I don't know. It's crazy. They watch the sickest stuff online. By the way, if you watch porn, fucking stop doing that shit. You're messing up your brain, you're messing up your motivation, you're fucking yourself. You're not watching somebody get fucked, you're fucking yourself watching porn. So stop doing that. All right? That's the first thing. Number 2, um, I was reading this book here today. It's very good. It's by a man named Stefan Arnio. Okay, it's called "Hard Times Create Strong Men." Very good book. Very good book. Um, I didn't get that. I didn't get that far yet. I'm only on page. Let me see. For 49 so far. The point is, it's a very good book. It's a very good book, which is a you know surprisingly deep analysis of the state of the culture. And he's dead already. Okay, he died of cancer. But before that, he survived cancer, his first cancer attack, by going into the jungle and just fasting for 40 days. Yeah, young man in his 30s, my age, but very wise, just like myself as well. Right? So yeah, very good book. I recommend it highly. I highly recommend it. If you want me to read some of it, let me know. In fact, I'm going to read some of it right now. Okay. So, are you all ready to have your mind blown? Ground zero. Warning, do not read this book if you are easily offended. Burn this book instead. This book is rated R for relevant. That's good. Political correctness tells us that nothing is more important than the way people feel. If something offends you, if it hurts our feelings, if it makes us feel that we have been treated unfairly, it is to be shunned and snuffed out from the public discourse. We believe this because we are trying to love one another, because the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and we are afraid of not accomplishing our goals, of seizing our dreams, afraid of death. We want to construct an artificial world around us that will shield us from these negative and unnecessary parts of life, but in doing so, we leave ourselves unprepared for the realities of the world. When the realities of life hit, they are that much more surprising, that much more brutal, and that much more devastating. That is Gene Simmons on Power. On Power is the book. This book discusses money, sex, religion, and politics, major topics that are offensive to large groups of people because they challenge popular core belief systems fed to us by major sources like schools, parents, and churches. Many of us have belief systems that we never really chose, but rather just inherited without thinking for ourselves. My views may not be popular, but they are grounded in the reality of what works and what doesn't work. The ideas and arguments in this book are backed up by experts and reinforced by examples from the past. Anyways, let's go into some of the key points. Oh, very good. This is a very good part here. Okay, listen to this. Listen to this. Your man. Hold on. Your mean was the message my staff gave me. I'm the founder, owner, and proprietor of a real estate company. During one weekly staff meeting, I gazed in disbelief at my 8 full-time staff members sitting around my boardroom table, rebelling against my leadership. I had been away from the office for an extended period of time and returned to discover that the inmates had taken over the prison. You're mean, one of them repeated. The children were ganging up on dad. I was dad. I had been out of the country for more than 30 days and had left the office alone. I fasted for 18 days in the jungle of Costa Rica, subsisting on pure water, no food, no supplements, no vitamins, no drugs, and came home to a small mutiny started by my employees. You're mean, they whined as I sat at the head of the table and listened. That's what I hear a lot as well. You're mean, Frank. Why are you so mean, right? That's what I hear from a lot of bitches as well. And when I say bitches, that's not females. Okay, what I'm talking about is like men that are little bitches. I hear that too. You're mean, Frank. Why do you say it like that? That morning, two of my female staff showed up more than 1 hour and 40 minutes late for their jobs in customer service. The office hours are Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The young women in question took the liberty of showing up at the office at 10:40 and 10:45, respectively, that morning and didn't even blink at the fact that they were late. In another office, they would have been fired. I have been away for so long that the culture of the office had begun to unravel. One of my young salesmen, a 20-year-old man, made zero sales calls the day before. He told me he didn't like me, and he got emotional at the boardroom table, telling me that I made him feel like a piece of shit, while he turned red and had a temper tantrum like a baby. He, in fact, was acting like a piece of shit and desperately needed a spanking. My manager, my young COO, had not conducted the 11 a.m. team meeting where the team reviews the daily stats in over a month. We had an open discussion later that morning about why. During our meeting, he told me he didn't like me, that I was mean, and that he didn't like working there anymore. My young staff consisted of mostly millennials, an entitled, weak baby generation of kids who never want to grow up, do any real work. Fuck me, ironically, I know this generation all too well. I am a millennial. Over the next 2 days, I had to do 6 hours of one on one bomb defusal, listening, debugging, and cleaning out all the dog shit that these young men had in their brains. You're mean, they protested again. I countered with, you four young people should be fired for your bad behavior. I didn't fire anyone instead. I listened to the protests and the complaints. In the world of work and business, you have to do your job. You may not like your job or your boss or even the company you work for, but you have bills to pay, so you must do your work. Work is the purpose of a man. And I had to have a how to be a man conversation with these young men to straighten them out and get them on the path to productivity. You hear that? Work is the purpose of a man. That's good. Such is the challenge of a small company. You can't fire everyone when they act badly. It's too expensive. So instead I listened to them and their complaints, and something became very apparent to me. None of these young men have real fathers to teach them how to be a man. Even my own father failed to teach me that most basic lesson because his father was a drunk who beat him. The lesson was missing from his own growing up experience. I sat at my boardroom table, one on one, having the how to be a man and do your work conversation with my young millennial men who were, in fact, still boys. What the fuck? I thought to myself. This man boy never growing up weakness is an epidemic, a pandemic, a disease that is plaguing our young people today. During my meetings, I heard an entire laundry list of emotional, shitty excuses coming from their mouths. I don't love it here. I don't love selling this. I don't believe in this. I want to go traveling. I want to be a business owner of my own one day. This isn't my dream. This doesn't make me happy. You make me feel like shit. I don't like you. You're mean to me. I don't want to do my job. I would rather do another job in the company that I find to be more interesting. The work you want me to do is not what I want to do. The list goes on, but I will save your eyeballs from reading it. Reading their emotional excuses is a waste of time. Where is this nonsense coming from? These young men I hired are good men. They are smart, good looking, well dressed, and speak well, the cream of the crop for their age. Yet they still think and say this bullshit when faced with the challenge of real work, the real purpose, and the discomforts of living life as a man. I spent hours lecturing the young men, interviewing them, and trying to find the contradictions in their thinking. There were several. After having a lecture from me on how to be a man and do your work to gain the trust of your women and your tribe of other men, the message sank in. It was as though I had activated some of the original software in the male's brain. I spoke to them and they listened and understood. The definition of how to be a man was clear for them, and they immediately made the right changes. No one had ever activated the software for them before. Anyways, okay, let me go further. I realized in that moment that this is not a local problem. but rather a massive problem across the entire Western world. We have multiple generations in business, sales, negotiation, real estate, and making money because that is what I have learned by virtue of being a man. I entered the world with nothing and had to learn to survive on the modern frontier of survival and work, money, negotiations, and business. But I'm going to step into the how to be a man niche briefly because I believe that the young men of today are rotten, not necessarily by a choice, but rather because they are steeped in mental and philosophical poison that ruins their minds. So, so it's a very good book. It's a very good book. It's a very good book. Let me just cover one more thing here. Let's see. Hard times create strong men. What women want, page 135. What women want. Let's read this. So, what do women want? By all means, marry if you get a good wife. You'll become happy if you get a bad one. You'll become a philosopher. That's good. That's Socrates. All right. When a man types what women want into Google, he gets about 5,900,000,000 results. 5.9 billion results. Yes, that is billions with a B. There is only one thing that women really want, not 5.9 billion things. To give you some perspective on the number of ideas of what women want, if you type porn into Google, you only get about 471 million results. There are roughly 12 times more ideas about what women want than there are porn results on Google. Think about that for a moment. The top of the Google crap heap of the 5.9 billion results on what women want is a movie entitled What Women Want with Mel Gibson. In the movie, Gibson's character has a freak accident after which he's able to read the minds of women. He also waxes his legs in the movie, wears pantyhose, and does a whole bunch of other strange things, including electrocuting himself in a bathtub with a blow dryer. The movie sounds stupid because it is stupid and has nothing to do with what women actually want. Let me see. So, what is it that women truly want? The answer is mastery over their men. Mhm. To make a woman happy, she wants a real man, a strong man, to have mastery over her. There you go. Chris Rock is a famous comedian and used to say, men see something they want and say, what do I have to get? What do I have to do to get me that? Women see something they want and say, who do I have to get me that? Wow. You see that? That's powerful. God damn it. Men see something they want and say, what do I have to get? What do I have to do to get me that? Women see something they want and say, who do I have to get me that? Women want mastery over their men, but they want real men, strong men, not man boys and not effeminate men who do not take responsibility and ownership over their lives. Okay, let's see. Hmm. Okay, never mind. So I recommend this book. Very, it's a little bit thick, but it's good stuff. Just started it. All right. Sounds like it works at my job. Huh? All right. Frank is looking good as usual. And how can I be more attractive? My experiences in life have really broken me. I can't get my ex-girlfriend abusing me out of my head. She really lowered self-esteem in every way. She's really lowered self-esteem in every way. Um, well, look, bro, it's a daily battle. Life is war. It really is, you know. And the sooner you accept that, the better. You get what I mean? So, how can you be more attractive? You got to be a survivor, my friend. You got to be a survivor. You got to be a competent man that is able to survive and is a net. What's the word? He's an asset in many different ways. A man that is an asset. Be a man that is an asset. Never forget that women don't love you for you. They love you for what you can do for them and what they get through you. Okay, that's what women love you for. So you just got to be an asset in some way or another, right? Now, that's attraction. Has very little to do with looks. You know, has very little to do with looks. Um, Other than that, if you wanna look sexy or attractive, you gotta look dangerous to some extent. You gotta look dangerous. All right. A pretty boy is not interesting. Okay, you can of course be a pretty boy, but how far is that really going to get you? Because as a pretty boy, it doesn't mean that you're that you're evolutionary fit, if that makes sense. Okay, for men, the question is, can you survive? Can you protect? Can you be like, are you are you dangerous? Really, not dangerous to the woman, but she wants to know that you are dangerous to other men. Absolutely. You see what I mean? So me, a lot of people say I look like a pretty boy, which I used to hate for the longest time. You know, like even on the stream, people told me, "Oh, you're handsome, you're handsome, you're handsome." Listen, I don't like being called handsome, and I don't like being handsome at all. I don't like that because it makes you a little bit effeminate. It makes you a little bit effeminate. Let's be honest. All right. And if a woman has a choice between an effeminate pretty boy and a guy that is less handsome but tough and strong and dangerous, she's gonna pick the guy that is tough and strong and dangerous, because he's sexier. So I have to put a little bit of extra effort in to look more dangerous, if that makes sense. You see what I mean? You get what I mean? I'm like a I'm a light skinned pretty boy. That's what a lot of people would call me, baby face. That's what I heard. You have a baby face and all that shit, right? Now that's changing because I'm getting older now. Remember, I'm approaching 40. I'm getting close to 40, right? But I tell you what, I never wanted to be handsome or pretty and all that shit. And you know, at this point, I think it's like, of course, it's a compliment and all that stuff. But when I was younger, I couldn't stand being handsome or looking good. I have a pretty face and all that stuff. I didn't like that at all. I wanted to look dangerous. So my response was like mean mugging to look like, to pretending to not pretending, but like, and in the beginning it was pretending to be tough. When you're like 13, 14, yeah, you're pretending to be tough. But over time I actually became tough, you know. And now the toughness comes out of my eyes. Anyone who looks me in the eyes knows I'm tough, you know. But if I was you, my friend Darian, don't go for looking good or being more handsome and all that stuff. What you should go for is look presentable, but look strong and dangerous. That's what you should go for. If you want women, look strong and dangerous. That's what makes you attractive. Be a savage gentleman. Okay, you could be a savage in a suit or something like that. A caveman, or not a caveman, but like a savage, dangerous guy in a suit. That makes you it makes you more dangerous. So yeah, being pretty boy and all that stuff is not helpful at all. You know. Now, obviously, like I said, I appreciate it if people like now. I appreciate it if you tell me I'm handsome and all that stuff. It's nice, but I used to hate it. Actually, I used to really hate that because I wanted to be a tough guy, strong and tough, and Just takes away from that. What book was that? That was oh, the book was Strong Hard Times Create Strong Men by Arneo. Stefan Arneo. Stefan Arneo. Yep. Okay. What's this? Frank, you got cursed with extremely good looks. I don't want to sleep with an ugly man unless you got money. I'm sorry, I'm shallow. Uh-huh. I tried wearing better colognes. You got an arm cross tattoo. I tried approaching a girl wearing expensive clothes with my leather jacket, and the girl laughed and said I looked like a classy cockroach. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding? Whoa. Damn, this bitch is nasty. Oh my god, what? That's mean. That's just mean. That's not even funny. That's just mean. That's what she said for real. Look like a classy cockroach. I mean, seriously? Like, where do you? Okay, you might have an instinct for the worst of the worst women because most women would never say that. Okay, they might shoot you down like really like, but something like that. You look like a classy cockroach. I don't know. Wow. Okay, of course I believe you, but you move on to the next ones. You will always meet some crazy bitches. You know, she had a problem with herself. You know, because you're not mean like that without a reason. You must hate yourself in order to be mean like that. Okay, so don't take it personal. What a cunt. All right. So, what do you do to be more attractive, my friend? Maybe you need some inner game. Okay, you need some inner game. Need some inner game. Self belief, but the problem is self belief can only be developed through challenges. So, how old are you, if I might ask, Darian? Type in your age into the chat. Type your age into the chat. Since now the vampires in the modern movies today are all sexy, it's more appealing because they're dangerous. It's also and also it's a forbidden guilty pleasure thing. All right. Well, yeah. It's this classic cockroach. Damn, she's a mean bitch. Yeah, she is. What a cunt. That is mean. Well, I hope you told her. I mean, sometimes they're just testing. You know, sometimes they're just testing what they could get away with. Now, here's an experience that I had. Okay, here's an experience that I had. I was out with a friend, and I didn't even want to talk to girls, right? But I was his wingman. Okay, and see, it was like this hotel bar. It was in Berlin, right? So like hotel bar, rooftop bar, and there was this girl sitting there. It turned out she was from Iran, right? Or Iran, not Iran, Iran. Anyways, so we sat down. He started to talk to her, right? And he's not from Iran, but he knows about the culture. He knows a little bit of the language, right? And then he asked her, like, where you from? And she says, well, I'm from Iran. And he says, oh, interesting culture. I know a little bit of the language. And then he said something in Farsi, right? And she's like, oh, that's good for you. And then like a just a bitch, right? Like, oh, good for you, whatever. Right? So and that was like a mean intention behind it. Like she was shooting him down, right? And I then called her out and told her, listen, have you not been socialized? I mean, this was really, really rude. Are you trying to be rude, or is that just a misunderstanding here? Because you come across as really rude. So if you have not been socialized, maybe you should go and take a course in that because you're really rude right now. Now, She was shocked about that because she was very attractive, and I guarantee you, there's the 99.999% of all men don't call out her bad behavior. You know, the only man that does that is probably her dad. You know, but she doesn't talk like that to her dad. You see what I mean? So I told her that she basically better get her act together and that she's rude. And that's not how you treat people. He's basically just trying to make a conversation, and if you're not interested, you could still be polite because that's how human beings interact, right? And she completely changed her act, and then she, was different. What she was saying was extremely unattractive to me because she was like, "Oh, telling us about her like frequent travels and all that shit." Listen, girls, listen. Let me tell you something about what men find attractive and what they don't find attractive. If I hear a 27-year-old woman tell me about how much she's traveled and where she's been, what do you think? How did she get there? It was mostly a men that got her there. Okay, and a man doesn't travel with you if he doesn't fuck you. All right. So she's telling me she's been to all over the fucking place. I've been here, I've been there, blah blah blah. Right? Or that's what she's telling him, and I'm just listening and sitting back, right, listening. I know that she's probably had like I don't know how many men must she have fucked to see all of those places, right? So that was the first thing that turned me off. Then number two, she was like really she had a lot of piercings. I find that extremely unattractive with women. Plus, she had a lot of tattoos. Even though I have a lot of tattoos, I know that women, or I think women with a lot of tattoos are just simply unattractive. And I tell you what, there's even some psychology behind that because when we look at tribes, ancient tribes, that's where the art of tattoos come from. A warrior would get a tattoo. So tattoos make you look more dangerous and masculine, which is attractive on a man. But if a woman is tatted up, that's nasty. I like clear skin when it comes to a woman, right? I like purity. That's what I like. And I think most men like that. So if she's telling me she's been all over the fucking place, and that's what she was telling him, I know that's a hoe for show. Hoe for show. So, you know, but that's just a side story. How did I even end up here telling you this shit? Um, I don't remember why I told you that, but yeah, rude women. You got to call them out on that, my friend. Just tell her, like, why are you being so rude? I approached you in a nice way. I said hello. And if you don't have any manners, maybe you should check yourself. What's wrong with you? Like, even like if you're in a social setting, you're in public, at least act like a human being that is civilized, right? Which is a lot. Apparently, that's a lot to ask from these fucking from a lot of those hoes, right? But the point is, nobody calls them out, especially if they're attractive. You need to call out women. You need to put them in their places. Do you understand? Just because she's a woman doesn't mean that she has anything on you. Do you understand that? I think that's a problem that a lot of guys have. Even waitresses, I see so many rude waitresses, and you never see them being rude to other females. They're always rude to men. Do you see that? I see that all the time. All the time. Why? Because they think they get away with it because a man doesn't put a woman in her place. You got to get into the habit that nobody can treat you wrong. It doesn't matter who the fuck she is. Nobody treats me wrong. And if they do, I call them out and I put them back in their place. I don't give a fuck if she has a vagina or not. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Right? So, once again, it's men's fault. It's all men's fault, especially Western men. You idiots, let feminism take over. You know, it's so retarded, man. Like if all of Western Europe and your fucking welfare pays for people from the third world country to come in, breed your women, and you pay for it. You fucking idiots. Seriously, the Western world is you're so stupid. So how dumb can you be? And let feminism take over. How like okay, you deserve like I think most men. I mean, this society deserves everything that is getting. Cultural suicide. It's really bad. I'm 25 and I've tried game, but nothing can you can say work on these girls here. Most women I've been with really get off on seeing me unhappy. One girl years ago told me she was turned on by my misery. Okay, now you're attracting them, my friend. This is not a normal woman, and the frequency of what you're telling me here is not normal. So there's something in you that is attracting that. It's like your energy that is bringing these women into your life, my friend. You think that's bad? What she told me, a Korean girl I met online and dated in person told me she wished black people were never slaves so she could watch our kind starve in Africa. Whoa. Okay, that's interesting. You were dating that? Like, what kind of people are you dating? What kind of people are you dating? Where do you find those bitches? That's insane. My friend, that's you. Okay, there's something with your in your energy. Like, how do you attract something like that into your energy field? And you're dating that? Like, how did you? Ugh, it's interesting. Okay, Darian, you got to smack those bitches up and put them in figure four leg lock until they. Hold on, we're not talking about violence here. Okay, this is listen, guys. You need to be aware that this is YouTube. Okay, you can't just put whatever you want into the chat. Okay, so no violence, no profanity, none of that. Okay, keep it clean. All right. Okay, Darian, you have a very weak mindset. Okay, so either you grow some balls and stop taking shit and stop attracting these weird women, or you shouldn't be on my live streams. Okay, like I only deal with strong people. Now, what does strong mean? It means that you have some self-respect, my friend. No violence, no violence, no violence, but you have some dignity and remove yourself from a situation where you're not being treated well. That's all that it means. Okay. I only deal with people that have I only teach people that have self-respect. If I have to teach you basic self-respect, my friend, then you shouldn't be here. Seriously, what is this? And you date women like that? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, my friend? That's your fault. I believe that there are a lot of sick people out there, but how do you entertain those people in your own life? Like, don't you see that? And then you blame them? What you're doing is you're seeking that out basically, and you accept that shit. Like, that's your fault. That's all on you, my friend. How you're a man, you take 100% responsibility. What the fuck is this? He likes it. Yes, you probably like it, my friend. Deep down, you probably enjoy being. You're probably a what's the word? A masochist or something like that. Bro, you're disgusting. Get off of my live stream. Seriously, get off of my live stream. It's disgusting. Masochist. That's you. You get off on that shit and then blame women for that. You have 100% responsibility. Nobody would talk to you like that if you didn't allow that. Nobody. Do you think people talk to me like that? Huh? Do you think I hear shit like that? Bro, I'm disgusted by you right now. Seriously. Jesus. Get out of here. All right. Um all right. I think you should start you should start a I do kind of feel bad for him. Well, you're making a mistake. You don't have you don't feel bad for a man, a grown man. What are you talking about? A man stands up for himself. That's what's up. Okay. A man stands up for himself. Do feel kind of bad for him. Why? That's ridiculous. Listen, guys. Don't come to me with shit like that. This is some psychopathy, fucking weirdo crap. Feels like he was bragging about it. Let's not talk about this anymore. I don't want to hear anything about this anymore. Guys, you come to me with normal stuff, not some psychopath bullshit. Okay? It's weird. That's not sad. Listen, I don't want to hear this shit. Keep it clean. I'm not a therapist, okay? I'm not a therapist. If you need help, seek out professional help. Okay. I'm not trying to be mean on it and trying to be mad or trying to be mean, but so this is you make a big mistake, guys. You're making a big mistake. You see what I mean? You're you're basically what you're doing is you're rewarding victimhood. That's what you guys are doing. Oh, I feel bad for him. I feel bad for this and that and the other. What you're doing is you're making victims stronger. This is another disease in our society. Weakness is not a virtue in no way, shape, or form. Weakness is not a virtue. Do you understand that? You've been raised in the world where they teach you that that it's good to be a victim. And for some people, victimhood and portraying themselves as a victim is an easy and quick way to get some sort of attention, which is a rush. There are people who actually brag about how bad they have it and they have zero intention of changing that situation because they're benefiting from the attention that they get for their bad situation. This makes people fucking, simulate diseases, simulate injuries, just so they get attention. You never, never, never reward victimhood or weakness. You don't do that. Okay. True compassion is different. You know how you show compassion? You acknowledge the strength in another person. Why? Because what you strengthen or what you acknowledge in the person, you strengthen. You don't you don't let somebody believe that they're a victim. What you're doing is you're keeping them as a victim. Do you understand that? You're hurting the person. Do you understand that? You are hurting the people that you confirm in their victimhood. Instead, you tell them you're way too strong for this. You acknowledge their strength. And they're going to walk away stronger. You also have to understand that most people choose their condition. That is a fact. If you're being abused on a regular basis and you accept that, you have chosen to accept that. You have chosen to accept that. Do you understand that? This is 100% the responsibility of the person. And if somebody puts this out here, do you understand that? This is shameful stuff. This is a fucking embarrassing. If he was actually embarrassed about it, he would never speak of it. He would be ashamed. He would keep it in the closet completely. Do you understand? So either he gets some weird feeling of satisfaction of sharing this stuff here where people get their minds fucked up with some crazy shit, or he has some really, really weird experiences that normal people don't have, which means that he is attracting that in some way or another. So he's seeking out these psychopathic women, which means that he's a psychopath himself. So these are the two options. I'm not going to entertain the shit. And you guys don't understand that. Everything that I do, even if you don't understand why I do it, is extremely, extremely calculated and logical. I'm a strategic genius. I told you many, many, many times. I see around 15 corners, 15 corners, while you're just processing the basic message. You understand that, guys? That's who I am. That's the level of intelligence I have, 100%. So I know exactly how people are. I know exactly what they're actually thinking. And this person is not a good person, period. Person's not a good person. So people don't share what they're actually ashamed about. Do you understand that? People don't share what they're actually ashamed about. Not on a live stream of 20 people. Okay? If you have actually things that you're ashamed about, you're not going to sit there on a keyboard putting it out there for everybody to see. So he's getting some weird crazy, disgusting satisfaction out of this shit. What a freak. It's a freak. Masochist, psychological weirdies. I don't know. Great points. Thank you. Hey Frank, good to see you live. I was wondering what advice you'd give me on learning how to do pickup. I'm reading the book and I know the terminology, but I have a hard time devising a good routine. Listen, my routines are shit. I'm not. You know my pickup right now? My pickup right now is basically just walking up to a woman and telling her, "Wow, I saw you from over there and you were so pretty and I just want to say hi." And I'll tell you what, the funny thing is I don't have worse results than when I go indirect. Indirect game to me is like doesn't make sense. Doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for me. What am I going to tell her? Listen, a guy like me walking up to a chick. What does she think why I'm talking to her? Am I going to talk to her, "Hey, um, are you here often? You know, do you know a good cafe?" Like she knows why I'm talking to her. She knows why I'm talking to her. So if I'm like creating these weird stories, I'm not just a weasel. So if I think she's attractive, I just tell her, "Oh, I saw you from over there. You're beautiful. So I want to say hi." What? Well, you know, like if you think about it, all this indirect game is like I don't know, doesn't even make sense. You get what I mean? So, um, yeah, right. That's it. Yeah, pity party. Exactly, pity party. Exactly. We have to choose to be winners. Frank is on demon time. I learned something new, boss. Yes. Um, pity party. So yeah, you have to understand. You have to know that the world will always try to destroy you. It's just a fact. The world is not perfect, but for some reason, people have start believing that everything should be perfect and everything should cater to their feelings. That's not how the world works. The world is a messy, messy, messy place. And the sooner you accept that, and the sooner you accept that life is not perfect and that pain is just a part of life. Life is pain. You live in a flesh suit that is constantly breaking down. It's healing. It's like it's aging. All of these things. It's a fucked up condition that we're in. The sooner you accept that, the better. Because then you can stop dealing with your ifs and whens and wishes and all that shit and focus on how life actually works. That's the first step. You're not even playing the game yet. You're arguing with the rules of the game. That's what you're doing. Everything should be perfect. I should be happy all the time. I should be like everybody should be friendly. Everybody should want me to succeed. Listen, you know what success means? It means the moment you start making real money, your family is going to attack you. Do you understand that? That's what that means. That's what success means. They will. I promise you. I promise you. You're going to get problems with your family as soon as you make real money. You will be betrayed more times than you will be able to count. Your spouse that last week told you she loves you, she's going to betray you. She's going to stab you in the back. You thought you could trust her? She's going to stab you in the back. That's life. Get over it. So either you want to win this game or not. Either you want to play this game as a winner or a loser. And the difference is, somebody said here, it's a choice. Yes, absolutely, it's a choice. Number two, do you make your life dependent on people that are self serving? They're not serving you, they're self serving. Or are you going to make your life focused on a purpose? And that is the only question that you have to ask yourself. That is the question. Do you live for something greater than yourself? Then it's fine. I live for something that is much greater than my own personal self. So it's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter what happens to me. It doesn't matter. It's okay that I'm in pain. It's okay that I'm suffering. It's okay. It's fine. The worst thing is being afraid of those feelings. The suffering comes from resisting those feelings. And there will be moments of bliss, there will be moments of happiness, and there will be many more moments of you know, frustration, pain. The world outside of you is not against you, it's just self-serving. Do you understand? It's just self-serving. Where did you get the idea from that people are there to support you? Like where? How? They don't give a fuck about you. How do you know? Well, let's be honest. Do you give a fuck about people out there? Like all those random strangers that you see on a daily basis? Do you give a fuck? No. So you got to find your truth within yourself, your purpose, and that's what you live for. That's what you live for. This is the power of invincibility that you're craving. A belief in something greater, something more important than you. Most of you guys have the problem that you take yourself way too serious. All of your suffering is because you take your emotions way too serious. You take your thoughts way too serious. Because you've been told that your depression matters. You've been told that your fears matter. That you've been told that your frustration matters. Your anger, your fears, your pains, your trauma. None of this shit matters. Yes, I said it. None of your trauma actually matters at all. You know why? Because everybody's traumatized. Everybody. All of your ancestors, without exception, from the beginning of mankind all the way up to you, were traumatized. The only difference is you have way less trauma than even your grandfather and grandmother. Can you imagine what it's like to grow up in the 1920s and 30s? And let's not even go before that, 1700s, you know? Can you imagine what kind of life these people were living and how tough they had to be? So the only difference between them and you is that you're a little bitch compared to them. So what in the world made you think that your pain, trauma, and all this shit matters? It's meaningless. Why is it meaningless? Because number one, everybody's in pain. Everybody suffers. That's life. Number two, it's way less. You live in the best times ever, and you still can't get it together. It's your problem is that you take yourself too serious. You are your own worst enemy. You are, um, there's this interesting way. I heard somebody putting it in a very, very interesting way. It was basically, um, yeah, you're overwhelmed by your own existence, basically. That's it. Existence, your own existence overwhelms you. You see what I mean? So that's a fact. That's the state of the current society. You see what I mean? So, and by the way, I don't even believe that psychological issues have increased. I believe that the nomenclature or the words for different psychological conditions have increased. We just now have the words for it. You see what I mean? Even if it's a fantasy. You see what I mean? And isn't it funny how like these buzzwords are picked up by idiots? You know, it started like 3 years ago or 5 years ago, where people heard the word narcissist. Most people don't even understand what narcissism is, right? But they heard, oh, he's a narcissist, she's a narcissist, 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 narcissist. You know, they throw these words out like, you know, he didn't want to pay for dinner. Oh, he's a narcissist, girl. Get rid of him. Narcissist abuse. He stood up for himself. That's narcissistic abuse. Yeah. So, what do they say if you're going through hell, keep going and put on a smile. Put on a smile. This is the gems of life. I like your memento mori tattoo. Yeah, thanks. I was stoic before it was cool. Believe me. Nowadays everybody's talking about the shit. I was stoic with like I read meditations by Marcus Aurelius when I was 16. That was too that was before social media even existed, bro. That was before Facebook, before all of that. That was 2001. I was 16 in the year 2001. Can you imagine? Yeah. Year 2001. And I went into the public library in the philosophy section and I found the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius and I was fascinated. It was one of the best books that I've ever read, or one of the books that moved me the most. Which is ironic because it's a book on stoicism, right? But I was so moved by it. But it's true. Yeah. So yeah, and I also got that tattoo way before it was cool to be narcissist. I mean, before it was cool to be stoic. Anyways, good philosophy, stoicism, very good. I heard a guy say that all five of his ex-wives were narcissists, but yet he had a baby with all five of them. Yeah, I mean, people on the same frequency and vibration attract each other. So he's if all of them were narcissists, he's a narcissist himself. You know, Frank, when you was hurt by someone, maybe your girlfriend, would you tell them what they did to hurt you to get it off your chest before you broke up with them? No, I don't wait. I say things right away. I make listen. I'm not the type of guy that can swallow things because it's good. Look. If I see something that frustrates me and I don't voice it right away, I'm poisoning myself. There's literally nothing good that's going to come out of it, and resentment is going to build up. The only reason why I would avoid conflict for the sake of you know for the sake of fake peace, even though you don't feel at peace, is because you're afraid of the outcome. I'm not afraid of any outcome. I don't give a fuck. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not. I literally am not afraid of anything. I am fearless, except for a few exceptions. I don't want certain people that I love. I don't want to get hurt. But outside of that, for myself, for my own well-being, I'm fearless. I'm literally okay, whatever. So I can't accept things and swallow them just to keep the peace, because that would mean I'm afraid of what would come out of that argument. I'm not. So I voice it right away. I don't have to wait till the end of the relationship to bring up things from a year ago, 2 years ago, blah 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 blah. You know who did that? That's what a lot of girls do in my personal experience. A lot of girls do that in relationships. They come up with shit like from years ago, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. Well, why did you say that in the moment? Oh, I don't know. I want to. So I'll get off my chest right. I get things off my chest right away. Why? Because I don't give a fuck. I really don't. Because I don't give a fuck. Don't give a Frank, have you worked with Bodhidharma? I want to learn from him, but not sure I'm dedicated. He cut off his No, I have not worked with that. I have not. What time is it, anyways, man? It's 4:13. Interesting. Great chat. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to keep reading from this book a little bit to give you some more insight. I really highly recommend this book. But before that, I need some hydration. Stay hydrated, guys. Always stay hydrated. All right. So, let's talk about this. You can love him or hate him, but Donald Trump is strong. When the weak world wants a soft message from mommy Hillary, like Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, to sugarcoat the basic problems around finance, social issues, illegal immigration, and the enemies of the country, Donald Trump is the voice of dad. He doesn't tell you what you want to hear, instead, he tells you the truth. Dad says, stop partying and be home at 11 p.m. The teenager narrative of the American media and society says, fuck you, dad, I'm coming home whenever I want. Thus, the problem with the message from dad. The entire country has no dads and no spankings for bad behavior. Here's the truth about the America that craved strong leadership in 2017 and needed a strong leader to take over. Number one, the nation has more national debt than ever with no hope of paying it off. Number two, America is involved in unofficial illegal wars with more than 7 Muslim countries. The wars are dragging on and on forever and wasting the treasury. 3, the country lacks high quality, value added manufacturing jobs and instead has an abundance of low quality service jobs that slowly destroy the middle class. 4, Trump banned people from 7 Muslim countries that the United States is involved in illegal wars with from entering the country. People said the ban was racist, but look at history. America did not take anyone from Germany during World War II, not even Jewish refugees. America is acting as per normal. It is not out of America's normal historical behavior to disallow the entry of people from countries they are at war with. 5, the country has a massive trade deficit to several countries, primarily China. Okay, another many points here. Give me 1 second. I'll look for a um, good parts. Give me 1 second. The destruction of men and family. Man and the family. Destruction of men and the family. 253. Since the 1950s, men have been losing power in the Western world. Women have been increasing in power, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe women were underrepresented before, but what has happened throughout this balancing of power process is that we now have reached a point of marginalization of the father, lack of strong men, and in several family cases, no fathers at all. Women are now wondering, where have all the men gone? The father role has been marginalized mostly by the empowerment of women, by women taking on the masculine role of work, the welfare state, and the divorce laws, family laws, child laws, and sex laws that favor women and give men almost no rights. Even TV sitcoms that favor women and give men almost no rights. Even TV sitcoms where the dads are bumbling idiots. The list could go on, but there are several attacks on strong men and fathers, and it's reached a point where there are almost no strong men or fathers left. And B, if you're a strong man or father, there's disrespect, name calling, and even hate. Statistics on the effects of missing fathers in society. 63% of children who commit suicide are from fatherless homes. That's 5 times the average. 90% of all homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. 85% of all children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. 80% of rapists with anger problems come from fatherless homes. 71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. Wow. Okay. Okay. A lot of stuff. Like it's very good. He breaks all of the stuff down that we feel, uh, you know, and he gives a lot of statistics to back that up. In today's world, pornography is the mass castration of divine masculine power. In Canadian prisons, the inmates are sometimes given pizza and porn nights. Wow. Sometimes the public is outraged by this, but I can see why the prison system would want to sedate the violent, hypermasculine, sexually frustrated, violent, and prison gay population in jails today. I've heard that man produces upwards of, wow, 100 million sperm a day. When a man ejaculates, he expends tremendous energy, actionable energy, sexual energy, and divine creative energy. You can see the difference in the power of male masculinity and this divine creative force, and the difference between an ox and a bull. A bull is strong and powerful male cow. He has huge horns, and you can see the viciousness of a bull in bullfights and at rodeos with how powerful and aggressive these animals are. A bull is usually the alpha male on the farm, and his job is to impregnate as many females as possible. Sounds like me. Sounds like me. All right. Anyways, in short, his job is to fight other male cows for dominance and fuck all the female cows in the population. Very masculine, very dominant, very alpha. When you cut the bull's balls off, castrate him, and take away his divine masculine power, he becomes an ox. A big, sedated, easy to control animal. A work animal, not aggressive and not much of a fighter. In fact, not much of anything. If the ox could play video games and order pizza, he would be living in his mother's basement playing video games and staying inside the house all day. Such is the struggle of being a modern man. Bulls are dangerous and hard to control. Oxen are docile and easy to control. It's no wonder that pornography has crept into the popular culture for what I believe to be a control mechanism over young men to keep them from rising in power. Pornography, which is cheap, free, and abundant on any smartphone, tablet, laptop, or desktop computer, is instant. There are no waiting times available in high definition quality video, and there's literally an unlimited amount of porn out there for free or nearly free. And a man could literally die masturbating himself to death trying to watch it all or see every girl, much like a rat in a cage pushing a button that hits dopamine receptors as much as possible until he drops dead from exhaustion. Rats have self stimulated themselves to death in studies, and the modern man is just like the rat, masturbating into a hellish existence on earth through mediocrity and lack of results. To live a life of mediocrity is not much of a life at all. You might as well masturbate to death like the rat. Once again, all of you guys that watch porn, you're making a big fucking mistake. You're making a big fucking mistake. All of you guys who masturbate to porn, you're an ox, turning yourself into an ox when it could be a bull, like me. In human history, powerful kings have had harems of up to a few hundred women. Alexander the Great had over 450 concubines and several wives in his different conquered city states, which he renamed Alexandria. Yes, Alexander named several cities Alexandria after himself. This was very confusing to look on at a map. Look at on a map. Alexander the Great had over 450 concubines. Check this out, man. It's crazy. 450 concubines and several wives. Sounds like a good life. A tribal king in the ancient world would have his wife or wives, then several concubines. And as the ruler and the king, the alpha male, he would naturally need guards to keep his concubines and wives safe. Do you hear that? A tribal king in the ancient world would have his wife or wives, then several concubines. Doesn't that sound like the life that everybody wants, or every man? You have one wife or wives, and then several concubines. That's exactly how I'm going to structure it. Exactly how I'm going to do it. You know, and some of the concubines they could upgrade to wives if they do their job right. Could yeah, upgrade to wives, and some of the wives could turn into concubines if they misbehave. Leave the palace, sleep in the harem. You are no longer welcome here unless I call you back. Bring me concubine 34 tonight. All right. And as the ruler and the king, the alpha male, he would naturally need guards to keep his concubines and wives safe. So the king would castrate a few of his guards to make them eunuchs, so they would have no sexual drive to tamper with the women. Just like the alpha male bulls and the oxen, the king would use castrated men to guard his women, so his seed and his sexual dominance could be enforced upon the women of his harem, and his guards could not be caught sampling the merchandise. Today, with men masturbating into oblivion at no financial cost, what we have is a mass daily mini castration or mini rape of these men. And the results are devastating over the long term. In Napoleon Hill's legendary book, Think and Grow Rich, there's a chapter on sexual transmutation. To paraphrase Hill, as an interviewer of the 500 richest men in the world in the early 1900s, all of the richest men in the world at the time used a technique called sexual transmutation. Transmutation is when you deny yourself sexual release and transmute the desire for sex into money, results, in real power. Yep. Okay. Sexual energy, specifically male sexual energy, is one of the most powerful forces on the planet. It is man's actionable energy, creative energy, which allows a man to create like a god, command like a king, and work like a slave to meet his goals and achieve his whims. If the man has been masturbating all day, watching too much porn, and has a million young porn stars in his brain who are all hotter than the girl he is with, there's no chance of an erection. In fact, he probably isn't even going to call a woman, talk to a woman, or go out. He's going to order pizza, stay home in mom's basement, and play his video games. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna go randomly onto a page and start reading the chapter. It says, a history of violence. The Romans believed that Romulus and Remus were distant descendants of hyenas who wandered the Mediterranean with a small band of survival. Okay. A position at the top of a pecking order is not permanent. Far from it. Animals who make it to the peak know that simple fact. They see that yesterday's adolescents have become today's restless adults and watch warily at these youthful challengers size up the odds of knocking their elders off the top of the heap. Dominant beasts remain vigilant, but a strange thing happens to a nation at the pecking order's apogee. The dominant superorganism sometimes goes to sleep. It falls complacently into a fatal trap, assuming that its high position is God given, that its fortunate lot in life will last forever, that its lofty status is carved in stone. It forgets that any pecking order is a temporary thing and no longer remembers just how miserable life can be on the bottom. The results are often unpleasant surprise. We all know that Rome was picked apart by peoples any respectable Roman could see were beneath his contempt. The barbarians didn't shave, they wore dirty clothes, they were almost always drunk. Their living standard was one step above that of a mule. Their technology was laughable. They usually couldn't read and write, and they certainly had no culture. What could these smelly primitives do? They could fight. When Americans go to the theater to watch Star Wars or the Hunger Games, they cheer for the rebels, the have nots, the young teenagers, the women. The youth like Skywalker and Princess Leia from Star Wars and Katniss Everdeen, 16-year-old female protagonist in the Hunger Games, capture the rebellious essence, the youth, the vigor, the purity, the innocence of the rebellion. Katniss takes on the evil empire oppressing her family, and the villain in the movie, an old white man named President Snow. President Snow. Oh my. Okay, I recently watched Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and I literally fell asleep in the middle of the movie because it was nurtured by Disney, who now owns Star Wars. The narrative was women, the youth, Asians, the poor, blacks, and a whole bunch of minorities, and some incompetent, weak men against the rich and old white men in the empire. It was a cliche and such a display of the popular narrative that I fell asleep in the middle. We are Darth Vader and the endless waves of stormtroopers invading primitive backwater societies and utterly crushing their way of life. We are the sinister, menacing, faceless foot soldiers in the Hunger Games from District 2. We are the Empire. We kill and exterminate the disorganized bands of teenagers running around in the desert who are freedom fighter rebels in both Star Wars and the Hunger Games. But somehow we cheer for the rebels. We cheer for the barbarians, even though we are the Empire. Sometimes reality is stranger than fiction, it seems ironic, but ironic is an understatement. My mother went to Mexico on vacation some years ago, and she wanted to experience authentic Mexico. So she left a resort that has military soldiers with machine guns, gates, guards, and barbed wire around the resort to protect the rich, fat, white gringos from the locals. In her naivete, my mother stepped out into the hostile frontier of survival and into her idealistic idea of authentic Mexico, away from the guards, the men who were hired to fire their guns to protect her. and gets on a bus as an old, white, heavy-set Canadian woman. The Mexicans spotted the intruder and they robbed her. Why would they do that? She couldn't understand why someone would rob her. As a government teacher, my mom has lived her life inside the frontier, inside the safe perimeter, protected and sheltered. She couldn't understand what it would be like to be hungry, desperate, and a have not. My mother has had a great life she has never been without. The Mexicans on the streets in authentic Mexico had never had anything, so they took what they wanted. They hate what you represent, Mom, I explained. You represent everything they don't have. They are have nots and you are the have. It's not personal, it's just business and gang culture of human nature. She was the empire and they were the rebels. She was the bank and they were the robbers. Everything is just looking to survive. The Western world is great, though. There are marvelous things in the West. We are not all bad, and we would like to think that we are not evil. The West creates, innovates, can build fantastic products and feats of engineering, and even the pharaohs of Egypt couldn't imagine a car, computer, cell phone, blah, blah, blah. The dog is well behaved today, and just watching, he's drooling and smiling and panting as a dog normally does. We think he's cute, we think he's harmless, but if we turn our backs for a second or take our eyes off that juicy steak, the dog will jump up on the table and snatch our dinner from us. If the teacher at school goes away or out of sight for a moment, the other kid might punch you in the face and take your cookie away from you. Would it be right for him to do so? No, but we're talking about human nature, not idealistic morals, ethics, or the way things ought to be. In the race of real life, only first place gets a trophy. Everyone else gets nothing or gets buried for competing. And if you are a loser in the race game of life, race game of real life, no one is there to buy you an ice cream at the end. In fact, if you come in second place in history, as we have seen earlier in this chapter, second place gets violently murdered, the women get raped, and the children get enslaved. You don't want to be second place when it comes to the frontier of survival. When you compare the greatness of the Western world, which was stemmed from Judeo-Christian philosophy and value systems, and look at the third world, it's easy to see why they would want to come here and live in the luxury that has been built there. It's truly amazing, and even the poorest people in Canada or America live better than the kings of ancient Egypt. Food is more plentiful and cheaper, the shelter is heated or cooled, transportation is easier, infant mortality far less, and the entertainment, TV, porn, and video games provide luxuries that the ancient kings of Egypt would probably have given it all just to experience. They want to come here, but the reverse is not true. The same woman who emasculates men and claims equality as her highest virtue, while also claiming that Donald Trump is racist, will also want to let more Muslim refugees into the country because it's compassionate, fair, and equal. Diversity and multiculturalism are her values, and she's not considering what happens when a tolerant woman like herself becomes the unprotected minority to the majority of militant Muslim men. Will those men from intolerant and violent societies be tolerant and peaceful with her and honor her untraditional feminist ideals that she learned in gender studies class at the university? Will they let her bare her breasts in public? Will they let her dress provocatively in the way she wants? Will they give her equal opportunity in life? Likely not. Will things be good for her then? Probably not. Sharia law isn't very fun for women. She will be forced to cover her body with a burqa. If she acts out, she might get some acid on her face to disfigure her. She will have her clitoris mutilated to sexually numb her pleasure so only her dominant Muslim husband can have pleasure from sex. She may also have her hand cut off if she tries to steal something. If she cheats on her husband, she will be thrown in a pit and stoned. She might find this to be a shock because Sharia law in Islamic countries operate in a very different way from the ways that the empowered women of the West are used to. In many Islamic countries, women can't even drive or leave the house without her husband, father, or brother as protection. When a tolerant society is met with an intolerant society, the intolerant society will usually murder the tolerant society, such as human history. Just like my mother on the Mexican bus who was robbed and had her wallet and cell phone taken, I wonder what a majority of intolerant, radical, violent Muslim men will do to our tolerant, empowered, vulnerable women who get up on stage and talk about pussy and vagina monologues and decapitate dolls of their male strongman leader Donald Trump for a laugh. Perhaps the intolerant Islamic men will become tolerant in a moment or have idealistic compassion. Probably not. I would venture to say that the intolerant Islamic men will instead decapitate those Western women as infidels and a disgusting aberration of what a woman should never be in the world. A disgusting aberration is the sentiment that they feel towards the Western empowered woman. The strong men of Islam do not tolerate the nonsense that women have been pulling off in the Western world since the 1960s. Is this good or bad? It doesn't matter. It's just how things are. Don't get emotional or idealistic about it. The irony of the empowered Western women showing up at the train station in Sweden with signs welcoming hordes of masculine soldier aged men who are 100% intolerant of the liberal Swedish way of life is mind blowing. We have become so weak that we cannot even see the barbaric invasion and war of ideology that are happening right in front of our faces. We are blind. The Judeo Christian values and philosophy have made us, the West, into creators and leaders in the world. What does the third world of the barbaric hordes create? Very little. I'm sure that the Roman government asked themselves the same question of the Germanic tribes they were oppressing with crippling taxes. What do they make? Nothing. They don't even shave. This, of course, would have been followed by the famous last words: they are of no threat to us. But then those barbaric hordes came over. They came a little closer. Then we let them inside the gates. They butchered us, the Romans, in an epic bloodletting to take Roman land, seizure our possessions, rape our women, enslave or murder our children. Now, here's a quote by Genghis Khan: man's greatest good fortune is to chase and defeat his enemies, seize his total possessions, leave his married woman weeping and wailing, ride his gelding, and use the bodies of his women as a nightshirt and support. The damage of letting the Germanic barbarians infiltrate the perimeters of Rome was so great that Europe went into nearly 1,000 years of darkness, dark ages. This was one of the worst times in all of human history. The once mighty Roman Empire decomposed into warring city states. Europe's population fell by almost 50%. Libraries were burnt, knowledge was lost, people were killed and enslaved, women were raped, and people were cooped up in the city strongholds with high walls to keep out the bands of roving gangs. Trump wants to build a wall to keep out criminals and drug dealers who are supposedly illegally crossing the borders into the USA. Rome had several walls to protect the people from the danger of frontier. When Rome fell, they needed major walls on their smallest cities just to survive against the barbaric, raping, killing hordes. Let's see. Yeah, it's a very good book. Should all read it. Should all read it. Okay. All right, guys. So I think this was a good live stream. Any more questions? Anything else? Do we have some more last questions before I end this live stream? Okay. So I'm going to wrap this up now. Hope you got something out of this. How do I finish this? How do I wrap this up? Well, just try to be a decent man, okay? Talk to you soon. Be well.